All right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to the Wavelength. This is the podcast for Primordial, where we talk all things healing with sound. Today we have the wonderful, magical, deep, scientific, and expressive Mystic, my sound brother, Chaz Pro in the building, hailing from Pacific Northwest. What's up? I'm so happy to have you here. Chaz is an incredible music therapist, professional, been working in this industry for a very long time, over 10 years of actively helping people heal at a clinical level with sound. Chaz is an incredible DJ who has toured the world, has expressed his art all over. He is an incredible healer who has gone the length of really re-indigenizing his knowledge of medicine and healing arts and brings all of that through his sound. And today we're going to talk about vibroacoustic therapy. We're going to talk about Chaz's brand of vibroacoustic therapy devices, the BioVibe devices, and teach you all about why those devices are so impactful. And we're going to talk about music and VOPs. That's what I like to call them, VOPs, vibroacoustic bangers. You know, everybody's like, that's a bop. I'm like, that's a VOP.
Yeah, Vop it.
All right, Chaz, so let's get into it.
Yeah,
So
thank
yeah,
you,
let
sister.
anything that I missed about, I know you have such a long resume, I couldn't possibly off the dome get it all.
That was very poetic and flew from the heart and the quantum realms. I'm very grateful to be here, sister. Yeah, as we continue sharing my energy and love for the world and for sound, we'll be eminent.
Yes, okay. So today the topic is vibroacoustic therapy. So, for the people who are just like don't know, what is vibroacoustic therapy?
So, I mean, that is actually in itself a trick question, but the deeper aspect of we want to like think about it, it's a therapy that has some device that sends frequencies into your body to create acoustics into your body. And those acoustics create resonance, and those resonance make all types of changes in the organs, in the cellular body, and the brainwave state, and our cellular state. It's very quite phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of like buzz around these days about vibroacoustic therapy, and there's a lot of devices on the market. And tell us a little bit about the inspiration in your device design and yeah, what is a BioVibe?
Well, first of all, I just want to like put it out there to all the shoulders that we stand on, all the giants, all the beautiful souls that gave their life and their teachings, literally their life and all their teachings to the next scientist or the next divine, medicine woman, so she can really build a future of a healthy generation. And we want to see healthy children. This is what this is all about. And for all of you that are in store with us, or in line with us, or in the digital with us, we believe in a healthier next generation. That's why we're doing this. And yes, it's cool we get to use science. Yes, it's cool that we get to, do that for maybe a living. But the bigger thing is that we're making healthier generations. And from that, we stand on people who believe in that. And that's why vibroacoustics, when you're using the right type of technology from the right practitioners, is one of the most powerful ways to work with the physical, emotional, and spiritual body, because it's standing on so much knowledge and so much actual truth of somebody wanting a healthier generation. And
Mm-hmm.
vibroacoustics come from, a deep aspects of when you really look at the knowledge. And we're not going to get super deep in the mysticism, but I mean it goes back, like we're talking like Egyptian, Sumerian, Kemet, the Dogons, like all of them understood this stuff and were making their own versions of vibroacoustic things in order to create resonance in the body to do all different types of things. And I think one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite, easiest things if the audience wants to be like, well, what would be something like that? Think about like the sarcophagus in the king's chamber. If you were to take rods of metal and stick them in certain areas and hit those rods, that whole inside of that tomb would vibrate and it would tone and it would make sound. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
one way to think about how they were using old things to make, tables or chambers that vibrated with sound. And
Mm-hmm.
then, so my aspect is always looking and not just the modern approach of where we kind of got in the 1980s, where, oh, we know frequencies of things. If we send frequencies of things into ourselves, we're healing. And we all heard about like the 1980s things where like they're like going, meh, 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 meh. Oh, that's the frequency of your liver. Just put it next to it, and you're like, after a day
You're
and a
like,
half, you're like, I don't know, this thing's annoying the shit out of me. But so we've grown, and like from that aspect, I saw most of the people I've learned from were came from the 80s, and they saw it so too digital, like a piece of paper. Like somebody gave them a piece of paper that said frequency of the livers, blah 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 blah, and they literally took that as what it was, and then put that in the most lowest grade device, and then just thought that would work because that's what the paper said. And
mm-hmm.
me and you both are living, beautiful acoustic chambers. We're much more than a two-dimensional piece of paper, and so we actually need to know more of the resonance and the angles and the acoustics of things, and those are created by frequencies, but it's never a two-dimensional frequency, as we know.
Exactly.
Just like you're
Mm-hmm.
playing a bass or you're playing your singing bowl, it fluctuates. It's not like on that one frequency, and that
Mm-hmm.
fluctuation creates the resonance and the acoustics, which makes the movement, which makes all the magic happen, right?
Exactly. I like to think about it like a tree, right? A tree isn't just like the leaf. Like
Mm,
it's one singular organism, but that organism, it has the bark, and then it has the inside, and then it has the branches, and it has the leaves, and then those die and fall off and become flowers and buds and bloom again, and all of that is the tree frequency.
mm, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love that concept of seeing that actually the thing is affected by the whole. So yeah, you can say that's really important. That's what's going on with your alternator, but really your alternator is being affected by your gas tank. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because it's actually part of the car, which is part of the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I love when we get back to that, and that's what we did with when we reinvented the sound table. So I was going to college, getting my degree in music therapy, and I was hanging out with David Gibson, and he had one of them 1980 sound tables. He's like, "Yeah, dude, jump on this," and I slept on it for a couple days, and it really started changing me back then, man. I was, over a decade ago, and it like really was like, there's something to this. Even though it was rudimentally, I was like, I felt the love of it, and it started making me dive into it. Of having a background before I got into music therapy and sound engineering, I spent many years building big giant auditorium sound for clubs and for Burning Man camps and for underground raves and just anything that
Mm-hmm.
I could like really express my understanding of acoustics with. And then when I got into the world of wanting to build sound tables, I didn't see anybody talking about the acoustics of the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was just talking about sound and frequency, and then that was it. But what about sound and frequency makes acoustics? What about your acoustics of your body? Isn't it going to be, is some acoustics going to amplify things and de-amplify things and muffle things and then extend things? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
beauty of acoustics, right? And we all know this if we're engineers, because you go to record your beautiful song in like a big old garage, it ain't going to sound very good. Because the acoustics aren't designed for that type of dynamics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into that lingo. I'm like, I'm going to be the guy, or the soul, I would say, who takes the teachings of our ancestors and reforms it into the angles of acoustics, because I understand that as an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started mixing that with my years of understanding of music therapy and started redeveloping the table instead of just leaving it as it was and making it one way. I started redeveloping, and I realized that the human body can't, like the actual physical body, it doesn't like frequencies over a certain threshold. Where some of these sound tables, they're going to play frequencies that are over a certain threshold, and yes, they say that that's the frequency of your liver. It's still not very healthy for the rest of your body, and to
Yeah.
have it sent at an amplitude to your body can actually be damaging. And
Exactly.
some people weren't really understanding that. And once I realized the threshold of the human body itself and where the frequency cutoff was, I started working my acoustics from there. So our tables are designed at a certain threshold where they're not going to go over and ever send an agitating or irritating frequency into the body. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that might happen through the headphones because that headphones needs to create something psychologically, but never to the actual physical body and to the nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
because that nervous system is the important thing that we're trying to regulate.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Exactly.
that made a huge difference in our sound tables right off the bat. And then also I decided that if I was going through a spectrum of, let's say, 300 hertz to like 10 hertz, I wanted to feel 300 hertz as much as I felt 10 hertz. You know what I mean? A lot of these tables, they only have like a pocket range where you kind of feel the frequency from like 150 to like maybe 80 hertz or 50 hertz. And
Mm-hmm.
once you get under 50 hertz, you lose definition, or vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. Once you get over 200 hertz, you don't really get much. And so
Mm-hmm.
finding a really sweet spot by using different types of basically artificial roller coaster technology to give us the right definition when we're going through the spectrum. So if I were to do a frequency sweep, your body would be digging it. You know what I mean? It would feel it, and it would
And
feel
your
all.
body does be digging it. Let me just let you know.
Yes, we have a couple beautiful frequency sweeps in our therapies that people just, they feel like somebody just, you ever like wanted to be that feather dropped, and then as it floats down to the ground, like you just,
Yeah,
your
that's
body feels like
exactly.
that.
We call it over in Primordial, we call it bliss face.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the face that everyone has. Like their voice is like 3 octaves deeper. And then
Hmm.
their face is just like when they get off the table, they're just like, yeah. Like, that was good.
You got it. Ah, that's one of the most beautiful things about it, the nervous system. So that's a really big part of it, where I think from most people's mind they can grab that part of the technology difference. Then the big thing is processing. We don't think about the aspect of that. Everything that we use uses digital or dirty electricity. Digital electricity has a carrier wave behind it that then again, once again, has this frequency that we don't really hear, but it is on in the actual release of the sound. And then the same thing with the wall. The wall electricity does the same thing. And so the first thing we did is we put conditioners up inside of our table, so it started conditioning out the frequencies that we don't want inside there, like it filters them out, and then also creating the least amount of distortion level by using very high grade equipment. Next, we actually, instead of just leaving it there, we decided to be actually a processing or a defining unit, just like you see if you were to go into a high level studio, they would put your voice through a high level processor and make it sound beautiful, right? How do those processors work? Those processors work by sending things through high level metal and crystal that is in bent or put in sacred geometry.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to work with Vogel crystals, one of the most powerful geometries that we know of, that has been proven to create and to actually program the output of frequency. You can watch dirty frequency go into a Vogel crystal, and then you can look at the geometry of it afterwards, and it cleans it up and it unifies it and it puts it in a space where it's the most usable. And we know that if you have a calendar and you go through your day versus you just randomly go through your day, what are you going to get more done with? It's the same day. What are you going to get more of your energy out of? So the more you
Exactly.
organize the energy, the more you get out of the energy. So we're
Mm-hmm.
getting more out of our tables. We're getting more energy. You're getting more things because it's organized in sacred geometry. And we're not done yet. We got one more thing that we kind of did a little different, just because we've been at it for 10 years. You know what I mean? We love
Mm-hmm.
it. We work with so many people and watch see so many people's lives change. Is that we realized there wasn't a very big feminine component in most of the other sound tables. And we know the good goddess is here to heal us. The big, powerful energy of the mother is just, nobody can deny when you get held by your mother's arms in a loving way how healing it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we call that in the vibroacoustic world, the VOMP world, we call that electromagnetic current. Like
Mm-hmm.
actually bringing the magnetic current back in there, and not just any magnetic current, organic electromagnetic current, something that's
Mm-hmm.
created by minerals and things that naturally release these, and Tesla coils mixed into them, so they're amplifying out like the same thing as the ocean hitting big rocks. And you know, if you've ever stand next to a big waterfall and just opened up, you get vitalized. Your whole body gets recharged because that's the electromagnetic current of the mother of that electromagnetic
Mm-hmm.
currency. So that's a big thing I learned from the Mayans. The Mayans use electromagnetic current in all of their technology. You will very rarely see a temple that doesn't have some water current going through it and smashing against beautiful rocks that put off this type of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we built that into our technology, and we're one of the only people that are even thinking about kind of utilizing these two technologies together. And I have to
Mm-hmm.
say, from my own work as being a private music therapist, I've seen so much result from the oversensitive, or not say oversensitive, but the very sensitive clients, because now they feel like they can get on this technology that's normally very dirty and unstable and has no
Mm-hmm.
feminine qualities, and it's balanced, it's been now filtered, it's been harmonized and geometried, and it also has a beautiful feminine component, and they're able to really open up to it, where before it was very alarming or even obtrusive.
Yeah, that was always been my experience. I was blessed. My very first vibroacoustic therapy session was with Chaz. That was my first experience. And then like went to a spiritual conference and saw that like a bunch of other brands and tried out their devices and I was confused thoroughly. I was like, this is totally different. Like why is this so different than what I experienced? And sometimes even for me, I'm pretty sensitive. Like if like other devices and have like made inflammation happen in my system or like made like the I feel my body responding negatively. Like I get inflammation. And I think it's because of just being a highly electrically sensitive person. And I never experienced that with the BioVibe equipment. It's always just like this deep, deep, deep hold.
Yeah, yeah. I have a deep love in two areas. One, high quality sound. I've been a DJ, I've been an engineer. I don't like sound that has boo-boo filter sound. I like pure clean. And then the other side is through my mysticism work and my love of the human body is seeing that natural components, when mixed with science in a loving way, do amazing things. And this is why we see the older technologies were really utilizing these precious metals and these precious elements together, and they were using them in their technologies, and we just thought it was like jewelry or something fancy to make it look more pretty, when really they were utilizing the different electromagnetic currents. And it's really beautiful that our generation is starting to understand that and bring that
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of let's talk about like all right, let's stay on the device train and then we'll get creative before we close. So there's a lot of like different vibroacoustic brands and stuff that say that it's okay to play the music through Bluetooth. Why don't we say that with our devices?
Uh, Good. That's a good segue, because if they just understand all the stuff I just told them, then you realize that Bluetooth and most transmitted frequencies that don't have a pure um, connection source, they're going to have a transmitter signal, and that transmitter signal is going to be in the back, and they put it in a frequency range that you don't hear, but your nervous system totally feels it. And then in order to get it into an ability where they can send it without a wire, they actually compress and take some of the sounds away. And we don't understand that too much because they take away the sounds that are the least likely for our ear to hear. It's a very complicated aspect, so, but
Mm-hmm.
those sounds that they end up taking out are the ones that our nervous system needs. And because just because we don't hear it doesn't mean we don't feel it. And this is why, if you've ever put on an old record and you listen to your favorite song that you've streamed a billion times from the old band on a record, it sounds so different, and you can almost feel them playing it,
Yeah,
because
it's like you're
there's
in the
more.
room.
It's like you're in the room, because there's so much more frequencies from those instruments that you don't hear, that got trapped and put into that digital or into that analog format, and you actually feel it and your body feels it and you have a response to that. So
Mm-hmm.
we love to use the highest level wave, 24-bit digital wave if we can, you know what I mean? And we really also at the same time, and I love Trineti's work because she's not afraid to use the spectrum, where a lot of people who are doing this music, though you'll just see them use like 432 or 528, and these are wonderful frequencies. I have nothing against these frequencies, and they are very healing. But in the aspects of understanding how to bring things down and how to take things up and do the sweeps that are in different mathematical ratios, is when you'll see like going to a beautiful chiropractor that knows how to pop your back, or a massage artist that really knows the right way of massaging you, so at the very end you feel completely relaxed, that these are
Mm-hmm.
beautiful things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's really what's been, the combination of like my compositional style and really like using that full frequency range and like the ratios and the gentleness. Like you've talked a lot about the mother, and I resonate with that so much. Like in my composition process, like for me, that is where I am the mother. That is where I'm
Mm,
holding, and there's so much care and nurture, and every sound that I'm choosing, I'm listening to how it's landing. And if it's not landing in a way that's easy to receive, I'm not using it. And it's because that is the side of the spectrum that I really feel like God is like asked me to bring through, is like I like to feel like, this blanket energy of love that's flowing through and creating space for that being to occupy, but not like taking the space away, but
yeah.
creating that space for them to come into wholeness. Like a lot of people, they're like, the music is so spherical, it's so like complex, but it's like spacious. How are you doing that? And it's like this mentality, and it comes from learning music through nature. That was how I unlocked my voice, was meditating, grounding into the rocks and the trees and the vines, and like channeling directly with them
Mm,
and feeling her like organic symphony, and how many layers are like in that, And so that, and then like I love bringing her voice in the water sounds and the fire sounds and the nature,
mm,
all of that, like that plus the BioVibe table. Like my mom, like, my mama, she would never lie to me, but my
yeah.
mom got on the table and she loved it. Like, she was like, I love listening to ambient stuff online, but this was like, I felt like I was walking through the forest. Like, she was really
Yeah.
feeling it, and she would not lie to me. So
Mm,
I was like, all right,
wow.
it's, this is the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So thank you for sharing about that.
yeah.
All right. So we've kind of started to get more into the creative side of things, the compositional side, like talking about vibroacoustic music in relationship to the device. And so my next question is really around, for those who are just starting out working with vibroacoustic therapy, maybe they just got equipment, and is there any risk to playing music that isn't made for vibroacoustic therapy on
It's
a vibroacoustic therapy device?
it's funny. I have a lot of people who ask that question, and I tell them, it's like riding your skateboard in the rain. It could work. It totally could. I've seen people ride their skateboard in the rain. I've also seen people that have been really, really hurt riding their skateboard in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it like that. You know what I mean? If you really don't know what you're doing, and you're just trying to grab your skateboard, it's your first time kind of going out, and you're jumping out in the rain, you're probably gonna slip and hit something and hit your head. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's probably not the best to do that with. If you've been working with vibroacoustics for 5 6 years, you know your table really well, you know the compositions that you're playing through your table really well, and something speaks to you, there's a chance that maybe it might work. You know what I mean? But without that knowledge level, you're never gonna know, and the chances of you falling are pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like adding another layer to that, like the impact of words. Like if
Mm,
you were to play a non-vibro acoustic therapy track that has language in it also, like that, maybe you don't want that language in your water. That's a big commitment.
it's a big commitment. Well, another thing too is people don't realize this. A lot of commercial music, once again, has carrier frequencies to it,
Yes.
and you can research this. 90% of pop music and commercial music has somebody behind it, and has what do they call it? Subconscious subliminal
Mm-hmm.
messaging. Like all the pop artists use it. And there's not one who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. It's a big thing in the industry. Commercials
Mm-hmm.
use it. Any commercial has subliminal messaging behind it. They all do. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so, and why people like buying from a reputable music therapist is because their music is pure. and
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell you everything about it. If there's a
Mm-hmm.
subliminal aspect of it, they're telling you the subliminal aspect. It's
Exactly.
not hidden in any reason because they want you to come back and buy something for them or whatever it is. And this is the
Exactly.
biggest thing why I don't use the YouTube stuff on my sound tables, is because a lot of that stuff literally has that stuff in there, and people will like wonder why they feel these ways or why they have a craving afterwards. And it's like, well, there's subliminal messaging and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just go look at the patents and know. And so I've actually keep most, almost, you're going to very rarely find any of my vibroacoustic stuff online. You have to
Mm-hmm.
come and like become part of my class and learn through us, or become to that level, because without that it doesn't, we want to keep it pure. I don't want someone putting
Exactly.
online and then it gets tainted like, oh, why do I buy it from you? I could just stream it from over here, and then it has some subliminal thing streamed over there and they think that's my music now because that subliminal
Exactly.
thing is causing something inside of them.
Exactly. And I feel the exact same way. And that's why Primordial exists. This
Yeah. And so for all you
That's why
guys
it
that are out
exists.
there, it is worth supporting us because we are keeping that high level criteria that you used to see in like the 70s, you know what I mean, that they had for certain recording artists. Like, we're keeping super high quality level, and with that, when you get on there, you'll feeling the difference, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And
I
this is
call it the
also
feel it formula. Like
feel it formula.
everyone's like, what's the difference between your music and the YouTube stuff? I'm like, here, just put these headphones on. Like, we'll talk about it later.
Yes.
Like, I don't even want to have this conversation yet.
And and it's just even easier if someone wants to think about it, like, how pure do you want your water? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, if you're at the point of where you don't want to drink sink water anymore, well, that's YouTube music. You know what I mean? If you're looking at something good, you got to get your water filtered or delivered. You know what I mean? You got to
Hmm.
bring it through, and then
And if
those
you want it
people,
real good, you need them crystals in that copper
you need that
infusion.
crystal, right? Go to the source, and it's great. And this is why all of us too that are really into it, none of us are shy. All of us will teach you. All of us, if you really want to learn, none of us are be like, oh, I know this and you don't. None of us are like that. We're all like, oh, you really want to learn this? You're really
Hmm.
committed? Cool. We love people like that. Come spend time with
Hmm.
me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And
And
go
that's
deep, and
and go
like
deep.
don't like, it's not something that you can half. And I think like that's really where the dividing line goes because it's a deep work. It's like, in a way we are scientists. Like you're in the lab. It's a lot of hours, it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of practice, it's a lot of healing and being in the journey of healing and working with this music and being humble to the process that you're going to go through.
What you're gonna go through, exactly. Um,
Yeah.
you were speaking about kind of things hurting you. So when I was building my sound tables back many years ago, I was building them and experimenting them. I had this beautiful girlfriend. She's such a beautiful person. I'm glad that she didn't beat me up at the time. But I was like, hey, babe, come try this. I want you to try this thing. I was all thinking I was hot shit. It was just kind of like what I see in a lot of these people. I just did research and I made something and didn't even use it myself. I just put somebody else on it.
Mm.
Didn't even try over and over again and knew what my feeling was about it. I was just
Mm-hmm.
ready to do it to somebody else because I read that this is what was supposed to be up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I put this girl on the table. I started playing this frequencies through her. Man, she jumped off that table, had a panic attack. She almost, even 5 years later, was not wanting to be on my sound table because of that experience. And I
Mm.
learned that we really have to understand what we're doing. If we've
Mm-hmm.
not experienced it ourselves and had a traumatic change and love, then what are we expecting somebody else to do? And I
Exactly.
love the people you see that's been in it 5, 10, 15 years because they use this on a daily basis. They know what works for them and their clients, and that's what they're
Mm-hmm.
using. They're not using something that is being regurgitated online and just putting that out again. Like, we all know the solfeggio frequencies are healing. Like, how deep you really want to go in life, you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Exactly.
what are the solfeggio frequencies if you really want to use them for healing? Where did they come from? Who invented them? What do they
Mm-hmm.
represent? That's the deeper things because that's why there's a healing aspect to them, you know.
Exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for what's going on. This app's going to change a whole bunch because not only is it going to give them a taste of quality, pure vibroacoustic music, but it'll give them a chance if they want to step up their education. How can they move in that
Exactly.
direction?
Exactly, the Sound Academy. So if you've been like loving this vibe and you're like, oh man, I want to connect to Chaz, I want to learn more, reach out to us. We'll make it happen. We're also going to be doing more programming in the Sound Academy. So join our family, become a Primordial subscriber, start. getting invested in the Feel It formula, and we'll continue to share everything that we're learning, everything that we know, and everything that we're learning, everything that we know,
Yeah.
because it's all a like forward moving evolutionary helix matrix of growth. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Chaz for so long. We've been aware of each other and co-creating for 7 years. Like we met 7 years ago. And it's just been such a beauty and an honor to swirl and weave up through these dimensions together. And yeah, like, so we've been talking a lot about sound, we've been talking about creative process, and Chess has an album that y'all have got to check out. Let's talk about the album that just dropped.
Oh, snap. Yeah, yeah. Um, I do want to share real quick before we jump off that all of you that are getting into vibroacoustics, you're getting into these music therapies, and you're getting into the things. The big thing to think about, what's the big aspect they're all about? It's about releasing microplastics, releasing the heavy metals, right? Our therapies that we're using, these tables that we're using, and I've seen from the last 2 years of my work the amount of microplastic and heavy metals that are being released from the body. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the next level, people, of
Mm-hmm.
health, is really learning how to detox these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all of you that are really into that next level of like really understanding the environmental health of our bodies, stick with us and get with it,
Yes.
because you're going to be helping so many people by them understanding how to release these microplastics and heavy metals out of their body very easily and within a short amount of time, actually.
Yeah, and
Versus,
gently, and
and
your life will change. Like
oh,
your life will change. Like that is coming from complete lived experience, and I'm excited to see how it continues to shift in my body and my vitality and self-healing capability. And yeah, I've been healing very deep things on the table. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, within that, we all want to stay inspired. And I want to tell everybody on the line, don't stop dreaming. Just don't stop. Even if
Mm-hmm.
it's just you're putting in a little bit of like time every week, don't stop putting in that time, because so many people so many times away said, "Man, you're still trying to make music? Like what? I've been making music since I was a kid, banging on pots and pans, trying to tell my parents I'll pay me. I'm worth it." And then they're
Yes.
like, "Yeah, right. Go back to your room." Right? I'm like, one day y'all gonna be doing it, I
One day
swear.
you're gonna get it. I feel it.
And
No, you got to stay with it, man. God is guiding us. Like anything
yeah,
that we feel compelled from our spirit to pursue, that's God speaking. And you got to follow it, see it through. You never know. You
no,
absolutely never know
no, you
why
don't.
you're on that path.
Come here, this little dude right here.
Hey,
Yeah, this is my biggest
what's up, cutie
inspiration right here. Oh,
patootie?
yeah. Nah, but it's been brilliant. I've been making music my whole life, and the last 10 years I've been focusing on vibroacoustics and going around the world teaching about the tables and making and teaching people how to make the music. And there was a moment where my childhood self was like, and I was like, my professor, scientific, mystical man's like, "What are you talking about?" And my little childhood side's like, "Yeah, bro, this is whack." And I'm like, "Huh?" And for all you know, you can't suppress your shadow. You can't
Mm-hmm.
tell your child side of yourself that it can't live just because
Mm-hmm.
your adult side is feeling so seen.
Mm-hmm.
That it's important for us to nurture our child side and our fun side and to have fun in life and to
Yep.
see fun as a healing thing and not as something that's
Yes.
a waste of time.
Yes. That's
And I'm
why
talking about,
we're bliss face over here. We got blessings and blessings.
yes, bliss it up, bliss it up. And so, yeah, about like 5 years ago, I kind of switched and decided I was going to go back to start writing electronic music again, like rave music and dance music. But I was going to use all the understanding that I was putting in from the vibroacoustic stuff, all the brainwave entrainments, all the different healing frequencies, all the different ratios and BPM and secret
Mm-hmm.
and synchronicities. And within that, it was beautiful. I just started birthing these what is kind of nowadays considered like ecstatic dance music, just
Mm-hmm.
going from genre to genre, using different BPMs and healing frequencies to create these beautiful EDM scores,
Yeah, that
and
still heal.
that still heal and are very empowering.
That, yep.
And so as I would do this, I hit the festival scene up last year and played a couple big conscious festivals and bass festivals, and a couple promoters like, dude, this is hot, man, you should give me this album. And so I did, and it ends up we hit hot. We're on High Vibe Records right now. So anybody who know, a lot of there's Economist is a great producer. There's a lot of, I think, Temple Steps on there too. There's a lot of really
Mm-hmm.
amazing artists on High Vibe Records. So we're excited. Vibrational Souls is the project. The concept is that we're vibrating from the soul of the earth, the soul of the great creator, and we're having fun with it. And
Hmm.
through that, it's emanating its fun through us.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
links to everything will be connected. So just tap in on the description and jam out.
Jam
Yeah,
out. It's
not.
like if you think of like some beautiful psychedelic bass rave music with like live sound healing instruments on top of it, like flutes and gongs and opera singing, and the song Egyptian dub, we straight take it back to Kemet, era where we straight up use old school scales. And um
Mm-hmm.
there's
My fave.
yeah, sound trap is written in the original 108 frequency used by the Sumerians for healing, and it has a
Hmm.
flute that's tuned to 108 played in it. With an ancient chant that's on it. So it gets deep, but it's also like something that you could put on that your nowadays people who listen to bass music, or that listen to maybe like some good tribal house or some drum and bass, will be
Hmm.
like, oh, this is cool. Different,
Hmm.
but it's cool.
Yeah, totally. And that's that realm. That's the sweet spot. And that's really like with my music, my Treneti music, like outside of Primordial, that's really like where I entered in, was always wanting to create healing music that slapped. Like always,
Yes.
I went to a couple kirtans and stuff, and like like was like, this is cool, but like it would be like a lot better if it slapped. And like that was
Yes.
like my entryway, like always the mission. And yeah, I had a really big victory with that, like earlier in the year. Like I have a friend, she's a like really epic R&B gospel jazz vocalist, like just a phenomenal musician. Like oh, like she just be like singing riffs in her conversations like it's nothing. And she was like, yeah, I don't really like, she booked me to come do a sound healing at her like organization just because she loves me. She was like, yeah, I don't really like sound healing music though because it's like boring. And then I was like, I am here to prove you wrong. I was like, so you mean you booked me and you didn't listen? She was like, I just trust you. I know you're dope. It's fine. Like, I just knew it would be dope. And so, and at the end, she came up, she was like, you did it.
Yeah.
She was like, I actually like this. I was like, that's my goal. Cause it's like, bridging into those territories, and it's the inner child, it's the play. Like, healing doesn't have to be boring. Healing doesn't have to be serious. Healing should be awe-inspiring, in my opinion. Like deep moments are awe-inspiring, but also bliss and joy and fun and just colors, like like melody, emotion. We need that, you
Yeah.
know? And that's the power and the beauty of really understanding frequency from a harmonic ratio perspective is you're free.
You're free. Speaking of that, so one of the tracks on the album Peter Pan, right? We've written it in the ancient sequence of the Celtic D note and the ancient scale of the Celtics, and you can feel like I didn't even try to go deep. I just did it so simple, but then added this, the nowadays synthesizer bass, and it's just like it takes you. You just feel it. You feel that deepness of it, and when
Yeah.
we like kind of just open back up and fly away and let these things that have been around forever. What did I do? I just took a very, very old scale from 5,000 years ago and played it on super modern synthesizers, right? And it's so epic. Like
Yes, exactly.
that
And
scale
you
is
know why it's so
timeless, right?
epic? Because our DNA remembers it.
That's right.
It's like, you know how when you hear a song that you like that you haven't heard in a while and you're like, "Oh yeah, that's my shit." Like it's like that, like on a cellular level.
Yes. Oh, I feel that so much when I hear like the redone like Mayan music, and you hear like the complexity but the funness of it. You're like, man, this is like old school jazz music. You know what I mean? With like the drums like you're like, yeah, dude, this is like you go to a drum concert now and you see the dude just going nuts back there,
Yes,
and the
yes.
clarinet dude just going crazy. You know what I mean? All of a sudden they stop and hit that perfect melody for a couple
Yep,
bars.
dropping it.
You
Because it's like, like taking it back to Ecclesiastes, ain't nothing new under the sun. you
No,
know?
no.
We're
And like I
just,
said, Vibroacoustics isn't new. We're just doing it in our way for our generation. So find the ones that are honoring the past, that aren't acting like they came up with this and it's the newest thing in the world and it's
hmm
the last 5 years came up with it, because it hasn't. We've been doing this for thousands of years, whether we've been making metal plates or whether we be using artificial roller coaster technology or putting a speaker underneath the back seat of your car. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
it's really been there. And then the more that you're intentional, truly loving yourself, wanting to experience health in your body and your mind and your spirit, and you are getting met by that, by maybe the music, because that person who created that music had that same intention, you're going to see this next part of the reality again.
hmm Absolutely. And that was a mic drop. So with that, I think that we can wrap. That was fire. I gotta let him sit on that one. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode of The Wavelength. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Check out all the information in the description so that you can follow through and stay connected with us. Peace,
Okay.
love, and blessings.